Shalom, everyone. Let's start with our opening prayers. Mm, mhm. भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om Shri Sai Ram. Welcome everyone to today's Satcharita Reading. We have Brother Dave reading from Mrs. Aurangabad.
Mrs. Aranga Badkar, the lady from Sholapur, wife of Shankaram Aranga Badkar, had no issue during the long period of 27 years. She had made a number of vows of gods and goddesses for an issue, but was not successful. She then became almost hopeless. To make a last attempt in this matter, she came to Shirdi with her stepson, Vishwanath, and stayed there for 2 months serving Baba. Whenever she went to the masjid, she found it full and Baba surrounded by devotees. She wanted to see Baba alone, fall at his feet and open her heart and pray for an issue, but she got no suitable opportunity. Ultimately, she requested Shama to intercede with Baba for her when he was alone. Shama said to her that Baba's darbar was open. Still, he would try for her and that the Lord might bless her. He asked her to sit ready with a coconut and joss sticks on the open courtyard at the time of Baba's meals, and when he beckoned to her, she would come. One day after dinner, Shama was rubbing Baba's wet hands with a towel when the latter pinched Shama's cheek. Shama, feigning anger, said, "Deva, is it proper for you to pinch me like this? We don't want such a mischievous God who pinches us thus. Are we your dependents? Is this the fruit of your intimacy?" Baba replied, "O Shama, during the 72 generations that you were with me, I never pinched you till now, and now you resent my touching you? Shama, we want a God." Oh, Shama says, "We want a God that will give us ever kisses and sweets to eat. We do not want any respect from you, or heaven, balloon, etc. Let our faith unto your feet be ever wide awake." Baba says, "Yes, I have indeed come for that. I have been feeding and nursing you and have got love and affection for you." Then Baba went up and took his seat. Shama beckoned to the lady. She came up, bowed, and presented the coconut and joss sticks. Baba shook the coconut, which was dry. The kernel within rolled and made a noise. Baba said, "Shama, this is rolling. See what it says?" Shama says, "The woman prays that a child might be similarly rolling and quickening in the womb. So give her the coconut with your blessing." Baba says, will the coconut give her any issue? How people are foolish and fancy such things. I know the power of your word and blessing. Your word will give her a string or series of children. You are wrangling and not giving real blessing. The parley went on for a while, Baba repeatedly ordering to break the coconut and Shama pleading for the gift of the unbroken fruit to the lady. Finally, Baba yielded and said, "She will have an issue." "When?" asked Shama. "In 12 months," was the reply. The coconut was therefore broken into 2 parts. One was eaten by the 2, and the other was given to the lady. The Shama turned to the lady and said, "Dear madam, you are a witness to my words. If within 12 months you do not get an issue, I will break a coconut against the Deva's head and drive him out of this masjid. If I fail in this, I will not call myself Madeva. I will soon realize what I say. She delivered a son in 1 year's time. The son was brought to Baba in his 5th month. Both husband and wife prostrated themselves before Baba, and grateful father, Mr. Aurangabadkar, paid a sum of 500 rupees, which was spent in constructing a shed in Baba's house, Shaya Mankarna. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Chapter 37, Chavadi Procession. In this chapter, Hamad Pant, after making some preliminary observations on some points of Vedanta, describes the Chavadi procession. Preliminary. Blessed is Sai's life. Blessed is his daily routine. His ways and actions are indescribable. Sometimes he is intoxicated with Brahmanand, divine joy, and at other times content with self-knowledge. Doing so many things sometimes, he was unconcerned with them. Though he seemed at times quite actionless, doing nothing, he was not idle or dozing. He always abided in his own self. Though he looked calm and quiet as the placid sea, he was deep and unfathomable. Who can describe this ineffable nature? He regarded men as brothers, women as sisters and mothers. He was a perfect and perpetual celibate, as everybody knows. May the understanding, knowledge we got in his company last long unto death. Let us ever serve him with wholehearted devotion to his feet. Let us see him, God, in all beings, and let us ever love his name. Hamad Pant, after making some lengthy dissertations on some topic of Vedanta, which he himself considers as a digression, goes to describe the Chavadi procession. Chavadi procession. Baba's dormitory was already described. One day he slept in the masjid, and on the next in the Chavadi, a small building containing a room or two near the masjid. This alternate sleeping in both these buildings went on till Baba's Mahasamadhi. From 10th December 1909, devotees began to offer regular worship to Baba in the Chavadi. This will now describe with his grace. When the turn of retiring to the Chavadi came, people flocked to the masjid and made bhajan at the mandap courtyard for a few hours. Behind them was a beautiful rathan, small car. To the right, a Tulsi Vrindavan, and in front, Baba, and between these devotees fond of bhajan. Men and women who had a liking for the bhajan came in time. Some took tal, chiplis, kartal, ridang, karanjiri, and gol, all musical instruments, in their hands and conducted the bhajan. Sai Baba was the magnet who drew all the devotees to him there. Outside in the open, some trimmed their divatjas, torches. Some decorated the palanquin. Some stood with cane sticks in their hands and uttered cries of victory to Baba. The corner was decorated with buntings. Round about the masjid, rows of burning lamps shed their light. Baba's horse, Shayaman Karna, stood fully decorated outside. Then Tatya Patil came with a party of men to Baba and asked him to be ready. Baba sat quiet in his place till Tatya came and helped him to get up by putting his arm under Baba's armpit. Tatya called Baba by the name of Mama. Really, their relationship was extremely intimate. Baba wore on his body the usual kafni, took his satka, short stick, under his armpit, and after taking his chillum tobacco pipe, the tobacco, and placing a cloth over his shoulder, became ready to start. Then Tatya threw a golden embroidered beautiful shela shawl over his body. After this, Baba, moving a little the bundle of fuel sticks lying behind with his right toe, and then extinguishing the burning lamp with his right hand, started for the Chivati. Then all sorts of musical instruments, tashi, band, horns, and ridang, gave out their different sounds, and fireworks exhibited their different and various colored views. Man and woman singing Baba's name started walking, making bhajan to the accompanying mridang and veena. Some danced with joy, and some carried various flags and standards. Baldars announced Baba's name when he came on the steps of the masjid. On the two sides of Baba stood persons who held chavaris and others who fanned Baba. On the way, they spread folds of cloth on which Baba walked on, being supported by devotees' hands. Tatya Patil held the left hand and Mahal Sapati the right. The Bapu Saheb Jog held the chhatra umbrella over his head. In this fashion, Baba marched on to the Shivati. The fully decorated red horse named Shyam Karna led the way, and behind him were all the carriers, waiters, musical players, and the crowd of devotees. Harinama, the name of the Lord, chanted to the accompaniment of music, rent the skies, and also the names of Sai. In this manner, the procession reached the corner where all the persons that joined this party seemed well pleased and delighted. On coming to this corner, Baba stood facing the Chavati and shone with a peculiar luster. It seemed as if the face of Baba glittered like dawn or like the glory of the rising sun. Baba stood there with a concentrated mind facing the north, as if he was calling somebody. All the instruments played their music while Baba moved his right arm up and down for some time. Kaha Saheb Dixit at this time came forward with a silver plate containing flowers besmeared with gulal, red powder, and threw them on Baba's body off and on. The musical instruments played their best at this juncture, and Baba's face beamed with steady and added radiance and beauty, and all the persons drank this luster to their heart's content. Words fail to describe the scene and splendor of this occasion. Sometimes Mahala Sapati began to dance, being possessed or obsessed by some deity, but all were surprised to see that Baba's concentration was not in the least disturbed. With a lantern in his hand, Tata Patil walked on Baba's left side and Bhagat Mahala Sapati on the right, holding with his hand the hem of Baba's garment. What a beautiful procession, and what an expression of devotion. To witness this, men and women, poor and rich, flocked together there. Baba walked very slow. Bhaktas followed on both sides with love and devotion. With joy pervading the whole atmosphere of the place, the procession reached the Chavati. The scene and though those days are gone now, nobody can see them now or in the future. Still remembering and visualizing that scene and sight, we can bring solace and comfort to our minds. The Chavati was also fully decorated with a good white ceiling, mirrors, and many sorts of lamps. On reaching it, Tatya went ahead and spread an asan and placed a bolster, made Baba sit there, and made him wear a garraksha coat. Then the devotees worshipped him in various ways. They put on his head a mugat crown with a tuft above, placed garlands and flowers and jewels around his neck, and marking his forehead with musk mixed vertical lines and a dot, as Vaishnava devotees do. They stared at him for long to their heart's content. They changed his headdress now and then and held it aloft on the head, fearing that Baba might throw it away. Baba knew the heart of them all and meekly submitted to all their methods without objection. With these decorations, he looked wonderfully beautiful. Nana Saheb Nimunkar held the Chata umbrella with its beautiful pendants, which moved in a circle with its supporting stick. Bapu Saheb Jog washed the feet of Baba in a silver dish and offered arghya and worship with due formalities, then besmeared his arms with sandal paste and offered tabul betel leaves. Baba sat on the asan gadi, while Tatya and others kept standing and falling at his feet. When Baba sat on the gadi, supporting himself against the bolster, devotees on both sides waved chamars and fans. Shama then prepared the chilam and handed it over to Tatyaba, who drew a flame out of it by his breath and then gave it to Baba. After Baba had his smoke, it was given to Bhagat Mahala Sapati, and then it was passed round to all. Blessed was the inanimate chilam. It had first to undergo many ordeals of penance, such as being treated by pot makers, dried in the open sun and burnt in fire, and then it had the good fortune to get the contact of Baba's hand and his kiss. After this function was over, devotees put garlands of flowers on his neck and gave him nosegays and bunches of flowers for smelling. Baba, who was dispassion or non-attachment incarnate, cared a fig for all these necklaces and jewels and garlands of flowers and other decorations. But out of his real love to his devotees, he allowed them to have their own way and to please themselves. Finally, Bapu Saheb Jog waved the arati over Baba, observing all formalities. The musical instruments played their auspicious tunes. When this arti was over, the devotees returned home, one by one, saluting Baba and taking his leave. When Tatya Pahil, after offering chilam, attar, scent, and rosewater, rose to depart, Baba said to him lovingly, "Me, go if you like, but return sometimes at night and inquire about me." Replying in the affirmative, Tatyaba left the Chivadi and went home. Then Baba himself prepared his bed. He arranged 50 or 60 white chadars one upon another, and thus making his bed went to rest. We shall also take rest and close this chapter with a request to the readers that they should remember Sai Baba and his Chavadi procession daily before they retire and go to bed. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all. Chapter 38, Baba's Handi, Disrespect of Shrine, Kala or Hodgepodge, Cup of Buttermilk. In the last chapter, we described Baba's Chavadi procession. In this, we take up Baba's Handi, cooking pot, and some other subjects. Preliminary. O blessed Sadguru Sai, we bow to you, who have given happiness to the whole world, accomplished the welfare of the devotees, and have removed the affliction of those who have resorted to your feet. Being very liberal and being the protector and savior of the bhaktas who surrendered themselves to you, you incarnate yourself in this world to oblige the people and do them good. The liquid essence of pure self was poured into the mold of Brahma, and out of this has come out the crest jewel of the saints, Sai. This Sai is Atmarama himself. He is the abode of perfect divine bliss. Having himself attained all objects of life, he made his devotees desireless and free. Baba's Handi. Different sadhanas, meanings of accomplishments, are prescribed in our scriptures for different ages. Tapa, penance, is recommended for Krita age, Jnana, knowledge, for Trita age, Yajana, sacrifice, for Dwapara age, and Dana, charity, for Kali, present age. Of all the charities, giving food is the best one. We are much perturbed when we get no food at noon. Other beings feel similarly under similar circumstances. Knowing this, he who gives food to the poor and hungry is the best donor or charitable person. The Taittiriya Upanishad says that is Brahma. From food all the creatures are born, and having been born, by food they live, and having departed, into food again they enter. When an atihi, uninvited guest, comes to your door at noon, it is our bounden duty to welcome him by giving him food. Other kinds of charities, giving away wealth, prosperity, and clothes, etc., require some discrimination, but in the matter of food, no such consideration is necessary. Let anybody come to your door at noon. He should be served forthwith, and if lame, crippled, blind, and diseased paupers come, they should be fed first, and the able-bodied persons and their relations afterwards. The merit of feeding the former is much greater than that of feeding the latter. Other kinds of charity are imperfect without this anadana, giving of food. As stars are without the moon, a necklace without its central metal, a crown without pinnacle, a tank without lotus, bhajan without love, a married lady without the kumkum mark, singing without a sweet voice, or buttermilk without salt. Just as varan, pulse soup, excels all other dishes, anadana is the best of all merits. Now let us see how Baba prepared food and distributed it to others. It has been stated before that Baba required very little food for himself, and what little he wanted was obtained by begging from a few houses. But when he took to his mind to distribute food to all, he made all preparations from beginning to end himself. He depended on nobody and troubled none in this matter. First he went to the bazaar and bought all the things, corn, flour, spices, etc., for cash. He did also the grinding. In the open courtyard of the masjid, he arranged a big hearth, and after lighting a fire underneath, kept a handi over it with a proper measure of water. There were two kinds of handi, one small and the other big. The former provided food for 50 persons, the latter for 100. Sometimes he cooked mite chaval, sweet rice, and other times pulava, with meat. At times, in the boiling varan soup, he let in small balls of thick or flat breads of wheat flour. He poured the spices on a stone slab and put the thin pulverized spices into the cooking pot. He took all the pains to make the dishes very palatable. He prepared ambil by boiling jawari flour in water and mixing it with buttermilk. With the food, he distributed this ambil to all alike. To see whether the food was properly cooked or not, Baba rolled up the sleeve of his kathni and put his bare arm in the boiling cauldron without the least fear, and moved the whole mass from side to side and up and down. There was no mark of burn on his arm nor fear on his face. When the cooking was over, Baba got the pots in the masjid, I guess, and had them duly consecrated by the Mulvi. First, he sent part of the food as prasad to Mahalasapati and Tatya Patil, and then he served the remaining contents with his own hand to all the poor and helpless people to their heart's content. Really blessed and fortunate must be those people who got food prepared by Baba and served by him. Somebody may raise a doubt here and ask, Baba distribute vegetable and animal food as prasad alike to all his devotees? The answer is plain and simple. Those who were accustomed to take animal food were given food from the handi as prasad, and those who were not so accustomed were not allowed to touch it. He never created in them any wish or desire to indulge in this food. There is a principle well established that when a guru himself gives anything as prasad, the disciple who thinks and doubts whether it is acceptable or otherwise goes into perdition. In order to see how any disciple has imbibed this principle, Baba at times proposed tests. For instance, on Ekadashi Day, he gave some rupees to Dada Kalkar and asked him to go in person to Koralha to get mutton from there. This Dada Kalkar was an Orthodox Brahmin and kept all Orthodox manners in his life. He knew that offering wealth, grain, and clothes, etc., to a Sadguru was not enough, but that implicit obedience to and prompt compliance with his order was the real dakshina that pleased him most. So Dada Kalkar dressed himself and started for the place. Then Baba called him back and said, to go yourself, but do not go yourself, but to send somebody. Then Dada sent servant Padu for the purpose. Seeing him starting, Baba asked Dada to call him back and canceled that program. On another occasion, Baba asked Dada just to see how the saltish pulava mutton dish was done. The latter said casually and formally that it was all right. Then Baba said to him, You have seen it with your eyes, nor tasted it with your tongue. Then how could you say that it was good? Just take out the lid and see. Saying this, Baba caught his arm and thrust it into the pot and added, out your arm, and taking a ladle, put some quantity in the dish without caring for your orthodoxy and without blustering. When a wave of real love rises in a mother's mind, she pinches her child with her hand, and when it begins to cry and shout, she hugs it close to her bosom. Similarly, Baba, in a true motherly way, pinched Dada Kalkar in this fashion. Really, no saint or guru will ever force his orthodox disciple to eat forbidden food and defile himself thereby. The handi business went on for some time till 1910 and was stopped thereafter. As stated before, Das Ganu spread the fame of Baba by his curtains far and wide in the Bombay Presidency, and people from that part of the country began to flock to Shirdi, which became in a few days a place of pilgrimage. The devotees brought with them various articles for presentation and offered various dishes of food for nivedya. The quantity of nivedya offered by them was so much that fakirs and paupers could feed themselves to their heart's content, leaving some surplus behind. Before stating how nivedya was distributed, we shall refer to Nana Saheb Chandrakar's story, showing Baba's regard and respect for local shrines and deities. Nana Saheb's disrespect of a shrine. After drawing in inference or guessing in their own way, some people said that Sai was a Brahmin, and some that he was a Muslim. Really, he belonged to no caste. No one knew definitely when he was born and in what community and who were his parents. Then how could he be a Muslim or Brahmin? If he were a Muslim, he, how could he keep Duni fire ever burning in the masjid? How could there be a Tulsi Vrindavan there? How could he allow the blowing of conches and ringing of bells and the playing of musical instruments? How could he allow all the different forms of Hindu worship there? Had he been a Muslim, could he have pierced ears, and have been could he have been spent money from his pocket for repairing Hindu temples? On the contrary, he never tolerated the slightest disrespect to Hindu shrines and deities. Once Nana Saheb Chandorkar came to Shirdi with his Sadhu brother, with his Sadhu husband of his sister-in-law, Mr. Biniwali. When they went to the masjid and sat before Baba talking, the latter suddenly got angry with Nana Saheb and said, "Are so long in my company, and how do you behave like this?" Nana Saheb then at first did not understand anything and humbly requested Baba to explain. Baba asked him when he came to Copper Gaon and how he came to Shirdi from thence. Nana Saheb then at once realized his mistake. He usually worshipped the shrine of Datta on the banks of Godavari at Kapur Gaon on his way to Shirdi. But this time he dissuaded his relation, who was a Datta Bhakta, from going to that shrine to avoid delay and drove straight. He confessed all this to Baba and told him that while bathing in the Godavari, a big thorn went into his foot and gave him much trouble. Baba said that was the slight punishment, be met and warned him to be more careful in the future. Kala hodgepodge. To revert to the distribution of the Nevedya, after the arati was over and after Baba sent away all the people with udi and blessings, he went inside and sat with his back to the Nimbar for meals with 2 rows of bhaktas, one on each side. The bhaktas who brought Naivedya thrust inside their dishes containing a variety of foods such as puris, mandi, polis, basundi, sanza, fine rice, etc., and kept waiting outside for prasad consecrated by Baba. All the foods were mixed in a hodgepodge and placed before Baba. He offered all to God and consecrated it. Then portions of the same were given to the persons waiting outside, and the rest was served to the inner party with Baba at the center. The bhaktas sitting in 2 rows then dined to their heart's content. Baba asked Shama and Nana Saheb Nimunkar daily to serve the consecrated food to all the persons sitting inside and looked to their individual needs and comforts. This they did very carefully and willingly. Every morsel of the food thus partaken gave them nutrition and satisfaction. Such sweet, lovely, and consecrated food it was, ever auspicious and ever holy. Cup of buttermilk. Once Hamad Pant had eaten his full in this company. When Baba offered him a cup of buttermilk, its white appearance pleased him, but he was afraid that there was no space inside for it. He, however, took a sip, which proved very tasty. Seeing his faltering attitude, Baba said, "It all, you won't get any such opportunity hereafter." He drank it off then, but found that Baba's words were prophetic, for he passed away soon. Now, readers, we have certainly to thank Hamad Pant. He drank the cup of buttermilk, but has supplied us with sufficient quantity of nectar in the form of Baba's Leelas. Let us drink cups and cups of this nectar and be satisfied and happy. Bow to Sri Sai, peace be to all.
Thank you, Brother Dave. We have Uncle Dilip reading about this chapter of Baba's knowledge of Sanskrit.
Om Shri Sai Ram. This chapter deals with Baba's interpretation of a verse from Bhagavad Gita. As some people believe that Baba knew not Sanskrit and the interpretation was Nana Sahib Chandorkar's, Hemant Pant wrote about another chapter refuting this objection. As chapter 50 deals with the same subject matter, it is incorporated in this chapter. Preliminary. Blessed is Shirdi, and blessed is Dwarkamai, where Sri Sai lived and moved until he took Mahasamadhi. Blessed are the people of Shirdi, whom he obliged and for whom he came such a long distance. Shirdi was a small village at first, but it attained great importance on account of his contact and became a tirtha, a holy place of pilgrimage. Equally blessed are the women folk of Shirdi. Blessed is their whole and undivided faith in him. They sang the glories of Baba while bathing, grinding, pounding corn, and doing other household work. Blessed is their love, for they sang sweet songs with which calm and pacify the minds of singers and listeners. Baba's interpretation. Nobody believed that Baba knew Sanskrit. One day he surprised all by giving a good interpretation of a verse from the Gita to Nana Sahib Chandorkar. A brief account of this matter was written by Mr. B.V. Dev, retired Mamlatdar, and published in Marathi in Sai Leela magazine. Brother B.V. Narsimha Swami also published in Sai Baba's Chapters and Sayings, and in Wondrous Saint Sai Baba. Both of these are short accounts of the same. Mr. B.V. Dev has also given an English version of this dated 27/9/1936 and published it in Sai Devotee's Experience Part 3, which was published by the Said Swami. As Mr. Dev has got first-hand information about this subject from Nana Sahib himself, we give below his version. Nana Sahib Chandorkar was a good student of Vedanta. He had read Gita with commentaries and prided himself on his knowledge of all that. He fancied that Baba knew nothing of all this or of Sanskrit. So Baba one day pricked his bubble. Those were the days when crowds flocked to Baba, when Baba had solitary talks at the mosque with such devotees. Nana was sitting near Baba and massaging his legs and muttering something. Baba, Nana, what are you mumbling yourself? Nana, I'm reciting a shloka from Sanskrit. What shloka? Nana, from Bhagavad Gita. Baba says, utter it loudly. Nana then recited the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 37, which is as follows. Tad vididhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadeshanti te jnanam jnanin tava tattva. Baba, Nana, do you understand it? Nana says, yes. Okay, if you do, then tell me. Nana, it means this, making sastanga namaskar or prostration, questioning the Guru, serving him, learn what jnana or knowledge is. Then those jnanis that have attained the real knowledge of Sadvastu, Brahman, will give you the Upadesha or instruction of Jnana. Baba, Nana, I do not want this sort of collected purport of the whole stanza. Give me each word, its grammatical force, and the meaning. Then Nana explained it word by word. Baba, Nana, is it enough to make prostrations merely? Nana says, I do not know any other meaning of word pranipata than making prostration. Baba, what is pariprashna? Nana, asking questions. What does prashna mean? The same thing, asking questions. Baba, if pariprashna means the same as prashna, why did Vyasa add the prefix pari. Was Vyasa off his head? Nana, I do not know any other meaning for the word pariprashna. Baba, seva. What sort of seva is meant? Nana, just what we are doing always. Baba, is it enough to render such a service? Nana, I do not know what more is signified by the word seva. Baba, in the next line, Upadekshanti te jnanam, can you so read it as to read any other word in lieu of jnana? Nana, yes. What word? Ajnanam. Taking that word instead of jnanam, is any meaning made out of the verse? No, Shankar Bhashya give no such construction. Baba, never mind if he doesn't. Is there any objection to using the word ajnana if it gives a better sense? Nana, I do not understand how to construe by placing ajnana in it. Baba, why does Krishna refer Arjun to Jnanis or Tattvadarshis to do this prostration, interrogation, and service? Was not Krishna himself a Tattvadarshi? In fact, a Jnana himself? Nana, yes, he was, but I do not make out why he referred Arjun to Jnanis. Nana, have you not understood this? Nana was humiliated. His pride was knocked on the head. Then Baba began to explain. It is not enough merely to prostrate before the Gyanis. We must make Sarvasava Sharangati, a complete surrender to Sadguru. Mere questioning is not enough. The question must not be made with any improper motive or attitude, or to trap the Guru, or to catch any mistakes in the answer, or even out of idle curiosity. It must be serious and with a view to achieve moksha or spiritual progress. Seva is not rendering service, retaining still the feeling that one is free to offer or refuse service. One must feel that he is not the master of the body, that the body is Guru's and exists merely to render service to him. If this is done, the Satguru will show you what Jnana referred to in the previous stanza is. Nana still did not understand what saying that a guru teaches of jnana means. Baba, how is jnana upadesha, that is, imparting of realization to be affected by destroying ignorance, is jnana? In Jnaneshwari, commenting on Gita 18, it says, the removal of ignorance is like this, O Arjun. If dream and sleep disappear, you are yourself. It is like that. Furthermore, is there anything different or independent in jnana besides the destruction of ignorance? Expelling darkness means light. Destroying duality or dvaita means non-duality or advaita. Whenever we speak of destroying dvaita, we speak of advaita. Whenever we talk of destroying darkness, we talk of light. If we have to realize the Advaita state, the feeling of Dvaita in ourselves has to be removed. That is the realization of Advaita state. Who can speak of Advaita while remaining in Dvaita? If one did, unless one gets into that state, how can one know it and realize it? Again, the disciple, like the Satguru, is really an embodiment of jnana. The difference between the two lies in the attitude, high realization, marvelous superhuman sattva or beingness, and unrivaled capacity, and Aishwarya Yoga, divine powers. The Satguru is Nirguna, Satchidananda. He has indeed taken human form only to elevate mankind and weighs the world. But his real nirguna nature is not destroyed thereby, not even a bit. His beingness or reality, divine power, and wisdom remain undiminished. The disciple also in fact the same Swarupa or form, but he is overlaid by the effect of samskaras of innumerable births in the shape of ignorance, which hides from his view that he is Shuddha Chaitanya. As stated therein, he gets the impressions I am Jiva, a creature, humble and poor. Guru has to root out those offshoots of ignorance and has to give upadesh or instruction to the disciple, held spellbound by endless generations by the ideas of him being a creature, humble and poor. The Guru imparts in hundreds of births the teaching, you are God, you are mighty and opulent. Then he realizes a bit that he is God really. The perpetual delusion under which the disciple is laboring, that he is a body, that he is a creature or jiva or ego, that God, Paramatma, and the world are different from him, is an error inherited from innumerable past births. From actions based on it, he has delivered his joy, sorrows, and mixtures of both. To remove this delusion, this error, this root of ignorance, he must start the inquiry. How did the ignorance arise? Where is it? And to show him, this is called the Guru's Updesha. The following are the instances of Ajnana. I am a jiva, a creature. Body is the soul. I am the body. God, world, and jiva are different. I am not God. Not knowing that body is not the soul, not knowing that God, world, and Jiva are one. Unless these errors are exposed to his view, the disciple cannot learn what is God, Jiva, world, body, how they are interrelated, and whether whether they are different from each other or are one and the same. To teach him these and destroy his ignorance in is this instruction in jnana or ajnana. Why should jnana be imparted to jiva who is in fact jnana murti? Upadesha is merely to show him his error and destroy his ignorance. Then Baba added, Pranipata means surrender. Surrender must be of body, mind, and wealth. Why should Krishna refer Arjun to other jnanis? Sat Bhakta, a pure devotee, takes everything to be Vasudev. Any guru will be Krishna to the devotee, and guru takes disciple to Vasudev, and Krishna treats both as his prana and atma. As Sri Krishna knows that there are such bhaktas and gurus, he refers Arjun to them so that the greatness of gurus may increase and be known. Om Shri Sai Ram.
Thank you, Alfred. Brother Samran, please continue.
Um, Construction of the Samadhi Mandir. Baba never talked nor ever made any fuss about the things which he wanted to accomplish, but he so skillfully arranged the circumstances and surroundings that the people were surprised at the slow but sure results attained. The construction of the Samadhi Mandir is an instance in point. Shriman Bapu Sahib Bhuti, the famous multimillionaire of Nagpur, lived in Shirdi with his family. Once, an idea arose in his mind that he should have a building of his own there. Sometimes after this, while he was sleeping in Dikshidwara, he got a vision. Baba appeared in his dream and ordered him to build a vara of his own with temple. Shama, who was sleeping there, got also a similar vision. When Babu Sahib was awakened, he saw Shama crying and asked him why he was doing so. The latter replied that in his vision, Baba came close to him and ordered distinctly, "The vara with the temple, I shall fulfill the desires of all." Hearing the sweet and loving words of Baba, I was overpowered with emotion. My throat was choked. My eyes were overflowing with tears, and I began to cry. Babu Sahib was surprised to see that both their visions tallied. Being a rich and capable man, he decided to build a vara there and drew up a plan with Madhava Rao Shama. Kaka Sahib Dikshit also approved of it, and when it was placed before Baba, he also sanctioned it immediately. Then the construction work was duly started, and under the supervision of Shama, the ground floor, the cellar, and the well were completed. Baba also, on his way to and from Lendi, suggested certain improvements. Further work was entrusted to Bapu Sahib George, and when it was going on, an idea struck Bapu Sahib Bhuti's mind that there should be an open room or platform in the center, and in the center, the image of Murlidhar, Lord Krishna with a flute, be installed. He asked Shama to refer the matter to Baba and get his consent. The latter asked Baba about this, and when he was just passing by the vara, hearing Shama, Baba gave his consent, saying, "After the temple is complete, I will come there to stay." And staring at the vara, he added, "After the vara is complete, we shall use it ourselves. We shall live, move, and play there, embrace each other, and be very happy." Then Shama asked Baba whether this was the auspicious time to begin the foundation work of the central room of the shrine. The latter answered in the affirmative. When Shama got a coconut broken, it started and it started the work. In due time, the work was completed, and an order was also given for making a good image of Mulidar. But before it was ready, a new thing turned up. Baba became seriously ill and was about to pass away. Baba Sahib became very sad and dejected, thinking that if Baba passed away, his vara would not be consecrated by the holy touch of Baba's feet, and all his money, about 1 lakh of rupees, would be wasted away. But the words, "place or keep me in the vara," which came out of Baba's mouth just before his passing away, consoled not only Baba Sahib, but one and all. In due time, Baba's holy body was placed and preserved in the central shrine meant or designed for Murlidhar, and Baba himself became Murlidhar, and the vara thus became the Samadhi Mandir of Sai Baba. His wonderful life is unfathomable. Blessed and fortunate is Bapu Sahib Bhuti, in whose vara lies the holy and the pure body of Baba. Bow to Sri Sai. Peace be to all. Oh, I apologize. I can't see this. I don't have. Pardon me, apologize. Stories, chapter 40, Stories of Baba, attending Mrs. Dio's Udyapan ceremony as a sannyasi with two others, trio, and Himad Pan's house in the form of his picture. In this chapter, we give two stories. One, how Baba attended the Udyapan ceremony of Mr. Dio's mother at his house in Dahanu, and 2, how Baba attended the Shunga dinner party in Hamad Pan's house at Bandra. Preliminary. Blessed is Sri Sai Samartha, who gives instructions in both temporal and spiritual matters to his devotees and makes them happy by enabling them to achieve the goal of their life. Sai. He who, when places his hand on their heads, transfers his powers to them, and thus destroying the sense of differentiation, makes them attain the unattainable thing. He who embraces the bhaktas who prostrate themselves before him with no sense of duality or difference. He becomes one with the bhaktas as the sea with the rivers when they meet meet it in the rainy season, and gives them his power and position. It follows from this that he who sings the Leelas of God's bhaktas is equally or more dear to him than one who sang the Leelas of God only. Now to revert to the stories of this chapter. Mrs. Dio's Udyapan ceremony. Mr. Dio was a Mamlatar at Dahanu, Tana district. His mother had observed 25 or 30 different vows, and an Udyapan concluding ceremony in connection therewith was to be performed. This ceremony, including the feeding of 100 or 200 Brahmins, Mr. Dio fixed a date for the ceremony and wrote a letter to Bapu Sahib George asking him to request Sai Baba on his behalf to attend the dinner of the ceremony, as without his attendance, the ceremony would not be duly completed. Bapu Sahib George read out the letter to Baba. Baba noted carefully the pure-hearted invitation and said, "Always think of him who remembers me. I require no conveyance, carriage, tanga, nor train, nor airplane. I run and manifest myself to him who lovingly calls me. Write to him a pleasing reply. That 3 of us, the trio, myself, yourself, and a third, will go and attend it." Mr. George informed Mr. Dio of what Baba said. The latter was much pleased, but he knew that Baba never went to any place except Rahata, Riu, and Nimgao in person. He also thought that nothing was impossible to Baba, as he was all-pervading, and that he might suddenly come in any form he likes and fulfill his words. A few days before this, a sannyasi in Bengali dress and professing to work for the cause of the protection of the cows came to the station master at Dahanu to collect subscriptions. The latter told him to go into town and see the Mamlatar, Mr. Dio, and with his help collect funds. Just then, the Mamlatar happened to come there. The station master then introduced the sannyasi to him. Both sat talking on the platform. Mr. Dio told him that the subscription list for some other charitable cause had already been opened by the leading citizen Rao Sahib Narottam Shetty, and so it was not good to start another subscription list, and that it would be better if he would visit the place after 2 or 4 months. Hearing this, the sannyasi left the place. About a month afterward, the sannyasi came in a tanga and stopped in front of Mr. Dio's house at about 10 a.m. Dio thought that he came for subscriptions. Seeing him busy with the preparations of the ceremony, the sannyasi said that he had not come for money, but for meals. Dio said, "Very glad. You are welcome. The house is yours." The sannyasi lads are with me. Dio, come with them. As there was time, 2 hours for dinner, Dio inquired where he should send for them. He said that it was not necessary, as he would come himself at the appointed time. Dio asked him to come at noon. Exactly at 12 noon, the trio came and joined the dinner party, and after feeding themselves, went away. After the ceremony was finished, Tio wrote a letter to Babu Sahib George complaining of Baba's breach of promise. George went to Baba with the letter, but before it was opened, Baba spoke. He says that I promised him to come, but deceived him. Informed him that I did attend his dinner with 2 others, but he failed to recognize me. Then why did he call me at all? Tell him that he thought that the sannyasi came to ask for subscription money. Did I not remove his doubt in that respect? And did I not say that I would come with 2 others? And did not the trio come in time and take their meals? See, to keep my words, I would sacrifice my life. I would never be untrue to my words. This reply gladdened George's heart, and he communicated the whole of the reply to Dio. As soon as he read it, he burst into tears of joy, but he took himself to task mentally for vainly blaming Baba. He wondered how he was deceived by the sannyasi's prior visit and his coming to him for subscriptions, how he also failed to catch the significance of sannyasi's words that he would come with 2 others for meals. This story clearly shows that when the devotees surrender themselves completely to their Satguru, he sees that the religious functions in their houses are duly executed and complied with all the necessary formalities.
Thank you, Brother Sunithan. We'll take a possible go to the session and end with our closing prayers. साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नो सर्वः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु। Om Shri Sai Ram. Thank you, Brother
Shri
Dev,
Sai.
Uncle Dilip, and Brother
Thank you
Samiran
so
for
much. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Sarah.
everyone.